Tonight, the NDP's Jagmeet Singh face-to-face with undecided voters.
Right here in the National Studio.
How are you going to fix it? Where's the money coming from?
He takes questions on his leadership, his campaign, and the cost of his promises. Rosemary wraps up our special series.
I am personally pro-life.
Andrew Scheer opens up. He is pro-life and a dual citizen.
New warnings for Ontario parents. If support workers strike, schools will close.
And scamming Canadians. We'll take you inside the call center. This is The National.
Choreograph the campaign, keep to the message, control the story. For party leaders in an election, that is a big part of the game.
But here, this week on The National, that has all been stripped away. Each day, we've had one leader in one room, face-to-face with undecided voters, having real conversations you won't see anywhere else. And on our fourth and final night of face-to-face, the NDP's Jagmeet Singh is in the chair. You, Rosie, of course, also in the room to follow and to fact-check.
Yes, when needed, of course. I can tell you that Singh quickly found out this group of voters wasn't going to be satisfied with big sky answers.
Lost my job. Wife lost her job. In-laws in Edmonton are all hurting.
Singh faced real experiences.
Your stance on the pipeline is a hard no. A hard no shows me that you're turning your back on those Canadians. That's what it feels like.
And he faced hard, thoughtful questions.
A lot of people have said that you've not been able to bring your own party together. So how can we have faith in you to bring other parties together around the table?
Yeah.
On his strength as a leader, on the price of his promises, and more.
So last year...
But where is the money coming from? Sorry to cut you off.
No.
Undecided voters weren't afraid to push him.
And
But
corporate
that's
jets.
not relevant to my question. Sorry to cut you off again. I'm going to have to cut you off again. I'm sorry. I'm just wondering where specifically you are going to find this money and then where you're going to put it.
I'm telling you that, I think.
Just a little bit later in the show, you'll hear how he did. But first, some of the other day's campaign news, because Singh wasn't the only party leader being tested. The Conservative leader was attacked for what he said on abortion and what he has left unsaid about his own citizenship. Here's Salima Shivji on Andrew Scheer's hard day.
Thanks very much for being here today.
He may be miles away, but the shadow of Andrew Scheer's debate performance in Montreal last night lingers.
They heard from me the very concrete and specific measures.
Scheer's team claimed victory with a cheeky tweet, contradicted by headline after headline in Quebec because of moments like this.
J'ai une obligation, j'ai une responsabilité pour assurer que...
Scheer dodging whether he personally supports abortion, but today a big shift.
I am personally pro-life, but I've also made the commitment that as leader of this party, it is my responsibility to ensure that we do not reopen this debate.
He may have said he's against abortion before.
I'm an authentic person. I am pro-life. You know, I've always expressed that.
But not recently, never in this campaign.
We will not support reopening the issue. We will not reopen this debate.
That I will not support any effort to reopen these types of debates.
This allowed Liberal leader Justin Trudeau to keep prodding, as he did again today.
I've been absolutely unequivocal that I will always defend a woman's rights to choose. This is something that Canadians know of a Liberal government and of me as a leader.
Scheer tried to hammer home his message.
The height of hypocrisy, ladies and gentlemen.
Only to be knocked off course again. Turns out Scheer holds dual U.S.-Canadian citizenship, something he's never revealed before.
Well, I've never been asked about it. I've never hit it.
Even though he once criticized former Governor General Michael Jean for holding two passports.
I was just asking questions of my constituents what they thought of that at the time.
Scheer says he's in the middle of the process to renounce his U.S. citizenship.
The Conservatives were gambling that the shift in strategy on abortion would carry them safely into next Monday's debate. Only this latest controversy has derailed yet another day as the campaign gets shorter and shorter. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Halifax.
Now, Andrew, you've got some developments here in Ontario that could have an impact on families and could actually have major implications for the federal election, too.
Yeah, that's right, Rosie. Education workers are set to walk off the job on Monday, and school boards across the province are saying if they strike, schools will be closed. And of course, that could have a dramatic impact on lots of people, including more than 600,000 students. As Ellen Morrow explains, that has parents scrambling.
Picking up the kids, an everyday ritual today shrouded in anxiety. If there is a strike, a full-on strike on Monday, then it would be a very significant disruption.
It's going to be a difficult situation to find care for her. I'll probably have to work from home.
Tens of thousands of parents now face the same predicament. This afternoon, Canada's largest public school board said its schools can't stay open if CUPE and the Ontario government can't reach a deal.
Our caretakers obviously keep our schools clean and ensure a healthy environment. Our special education assistants, they are helping our most vulnerable students.
The Toronto District School Board decision to keep schools closed if there's a strike came after a wave of other school boards across Ontario announced the exact same move.
That's amped up the tension in already fraught negotiations. It's the latest spat between the Doug Ford government and public workers. Ontario's education minister tried to strike an optimistic note, speaking to CBC News before the potential closures were announced.
We can get there, folks. I'm telling you, there is a pathway forward to resolve this.
In a statement, CUPE leadership said it hopes that school board's decision to close schools puts pressure on the province to reach a deal to ensure that students are supported by high-quality services.
Just do it.
The specter of a strike is hanging heavily on mother Charlotte Dobo.
It's going to be really tricky for any working parent who has a 9-to-5 job. It's going to be really tricky. Yes, I'm going to get you more crackers. 1 second.
Dobo's son Isaiah is autistic. Routine is important.
With Isaiah, who is not typically developing, there's nowhere else for him to go. It's school or home, and that's it. And home is far less favorable.
So now the nervous wait for what comes first, resolution or a difficult Monday. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Toronto.
Now to a case of political deja vu in Washington. Donald Trump has called on a foreign power to dig up dirt on Democratic rival Joe Biden again. In July, it was Ukraine. Today, it was China. And as Stephen D'Souza tells us, this time Trump just announced it to the world, even as his impeachment inquiry heard from its first witness.
If they were honest about it, they'd start a major investigation into the Bidens. It's a very simple answer.
Facing possible impeachment over allegations he's abusing his office for political gain, Donald Trump today went right to the crux of the case.
I would say that President Zelensky, if it were me, I would recommend that they start an investigation into the Bidens.
Trump openly suggested a foreign power investigate a political rival. Then he went a step further.
Likewise, China should start an investigation into the Bidens, because what happened in China is just about as bad as what happened with Ukraine.
Joe Biden. Trump was referencing a 2013 trip Vice President Joe Biden took to China with his son Hunter. It was played up in this Trump campaign video. There have been allegations Hunter Biden traded on his father's connections, but no wrongdoing has ever been proven. The comments today had some recalling the 2016 election campaign.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
Republicans dismissed those comments as a joke at Hillary Clinton's expense. Democrats say today's remarks are much more serious.
Is an illustration that this president has learned anything from the 2 years of the Mueller investigation. It's that he feels he can do anything with impunity.
Some say Trump's brazenness can't be ignored.
The fact that it's so blatant doesn't make it any less wrong. But I think people think, well, it's got to be hard to prove impeachment. And it ordinarily is. But this is a case where the president's making it easy.
Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, the impeachment investigation continued. Trump's former special envoy to Ukraine testified behind closed doors today. He told lawmakers that he had warned Trump's personal lawyer that they were getting bad information about the Bidens from the Ukrainians, and that he warned the Ukrainians to stay out of U.S. politics. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
We're following several other stories tonight, including an attack in the heart of Paris that left 4 people dead inside the city's police headquarters. An employee killed 3 officers and 1 administrative worker in a knife attack. 1 other person was seriously wounded by the assailant, who was then shot and killed. Officials suggest the attacker may have been involved in a workplace dispute. And 3 former students of St. Michael's College School in Toronto have pleaded guilty in the school's sexual assault scandal.
The fact that they have stepped forward, that they have taken responsibility, is going to move this case towards closure.
The teens were charged in connection to hazing incidents at the private school last year. Court documents detail 3 different assaults where students were held down by a crowd of players from the school's football team and then assaulted with a broom handle. One of the teens has also pleaded guilty to distributing pornographic material. And an Ontario man has been charged with mischief after calling 911 to complain about an Amber Alert. That alert was issued Tuesday by Niagara Regional Police after 5 children were reported missing. Now, they were found safe, but police say a 70-year-old man called 911 minutes after the alert was issued, saying he was angry about the notification and that he would continue to call while it was ongoing. Officials believe this is the first time someone in the province has been charged for calling to protest an emergency broadcast.
Well, now to one of the largest scams targeting Canadians. They've stolen millions of dollars, sometimes even identities, by falsely claiming a device has been compromised and then offering to fix it for a fee. Well, tonight, Marketplace investigates, going where even RCMP officers haven't been, inside a tech support scam center. David Common has that story.
In the heart of India's largest city, a nefarious call center is targeting Canadians. It took months, but we convinced a worker to take a hidden camera inside.
That is the reason I'm calling you, sir. I don't know you are too old and you are not a savvy of a computer. That is the reason I'm calling you. Your identity is getting compromised, okay, by 2 unauthorized people.
These are tech support scammers, one of the most widespread scams targeting Canadians, especially the elderly and new immigrants.
How much money was stolen from you?
$3,000.
$3,000.
Nahid Philippos had a problem with her smartphone, went online to find a solution, but the number that appeared led to a scammer.
When the guy answered, he said, "This is Apple, what can we do for you?" And he said, "There are hackers from Russia."
Philippos paid big to fix it, not realizing it was a scam. Thousands of others have been drawn in with on-screen pop-up warnings and more. Once the scammers connect to your device, they can steal even more.
We've had situations where, different ID has been taken out on people and fake driver's license and whatnot, going all the way up to, your house being sold.
What?
Without you knowing. Yeah, absolutely.
Your house being sold?
Yes, yeah. They've been able to steal their identity, take a mortgage out in their name.
With a threat that serious targeting Canadians, you might wonder why law enforcement isn't able to do what we've done. Get inside to track the illegal activity.
What does it say that we were able to get inside a call center like this, to get right inside of it, but there aren't raids going on against a place like that by RCMP or Indian police?
Yeah, no, I applaud your efforts for getting in there, but once again, police alone cannot solve this issue.
The RCMP say they are working to shut down these kinds of operations, but it's especially hard across international borders. David Common, CBC News, Mumbai.
And you can watch David's full investigation on Marketplace Friday night on CBC Television at 8 p.m., 8:30 in Newfoundland.
And from a phone scam to a disturbing rash of cyber attacks. In recent weeks, a malware virus has been infecting the computer systems at several Ontario hospitals. One in Toronto is just the latest. Cass Rusi explains.
It happened last week. Hackers infiltrated this Toronto hospital's computer systems with an ominous warning: your business is at serious risk. A malicious software called Ryuk blocked access to all information, including healthcare records and patients' charts. Michael Guerin Hospital went into what's called a code gray.
So we proactively shut down 52 of our approximate 150 servers. Proactively, we quickly stopped the spread of the virus, and we have slowly been restoring our systems when we're sure they are safe.
The malware virus comes with a ransom demand by the hackers to get the system unlocked.
And we never pursued any ransom.
Hospitals are particularly vulnerable to cyber attacks because they rely on specialized software that rarely gets updated.
The real problem is that a lot of the applications that they have to use in the hospital are older applications that require that they stay on these older versions, and that just leaves them vulnerable.
Recently, 2 other hospitals in southwestern Ontario have also had cyber attacks. The hospitals said they paid no ransom, and the systems are slowly recovering. The city of Woodstock was also hit with a virus. And in April, the city of Stratford paid a $75,000 ransom after a cyber attack. At Michael Garron, some elective surgeries have been rescheduled, but the emergency department remains open. Without computers, staff have reverted to working on paper.
I think all of us felt that the process was slower than usual. And so I think in places like clinics, it can be frustrating when you're looking for paperwork and you're not used to it.
The code gray at the hospital is expected to be lifted by week's end, but getting all computers fully back up and running, that will take a few more weeks. Cass Rusi, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, we got to take a quick break, but right after this, a special television event.
Rosie is next with something you'll only see here on The National.
You bet, guys. Next, the last in our special face-to-face panels, Jagmeet Singh sits down in front of undecided voters. We brought them together here in this studio so they could put their questions right to the NDP leader.
Sorry to cut you off.
No. Your stance on the pipeline is a hard no. You're turning your back on those Canadians.
The global platform has changed.
I think Canada has been really complacent.
Where I struggle with is with your leadership credentials. I'm sure there's a federal government can do something to, influence Bill 21.
Their issues, his answers, and later those voters will tell us how they feel about what he said. All that in Face to Face with Jagmeet Singh right after the break. Here we are again in the National Studio in Toronto. As you know, all week we've been doing this new, different thing. We promised the election would be about you, the voters, about your questions, your concerns. So we are giving over as much of our interview time to the federal leaders, to you, the voters. Welcome to our final night of Face to Face with the federal leaders. I'm Rosemary Barton. In our studio, once again, undecided voters looking for answers ahead of the upcoming election. We've invited 5 of those voters to speak one-on-one with the leaders. And joining us for our final day here, Jagmeet Singh, leader of the NDP. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Of course, we've already seen Justin Trudeau, Andrew Scheer, and Elizabeth May, and you're our last guest. Thanks for making the time. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So just so everybody knows at home, we gave you the first name of these lovely questioners, their hometown, general topic, but otherwise you're on your own. So let's start the clock. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Laurentine Tony. I'm married to an Italian immigrant, and we have a 3.5-year-old son. My biggest concern is childcare. That's because as a small business owner, I was never given a penny for mat leave, and since I couldn't afford childcare, I had to bring my baby to work with me. I would love to give my son a sibling, but we haven't been able to because we can't afford the high cost of childcare. I don't know who I'm going to vote for because politicians make so many empty promises. I'm wondering, where is the money going to come from to fix this childcare problem?
All right, Lauren, over to you.
Okay.
I'm a mom, and I'd love to have a second child, and I can't afford it. So this is a huge crisis that's plaguing moms all over Canada.
So
How are you going to fix it?
Yeah.
Where is the money coming from?
So I think, first of all, if it's something is a priority, we see governments get it done. Like, so last year...
Well, where is the money coming from?
Well,
Sorry to cut you off.
No, not at all. I'll give you an example. So last year, the Liberal government chose to give $14 billion away to the wealthiest corporations to buy limos and corporate jets.
But that's not relevant to my question. Sorry to cut you off again. Where is the money coming from? This $10 billion, where is it coming from?
So mine is coming from different choices. So we wouldn't choose to give billions to billionaires. We'd give it to childcare. We'd invest in childcare. The second thing we do is, so we have limited resources. We take it very seriously. We make better decisions. So one is we choose to give to people, not to billionaires. The second thing is we'd ask for more revenue. So the revenue that we're going to look at is the wealthiest in our country don't pay their fair share. So there's offshore tax havens that are $23 billion that we're losing.
I'm going to have to cut you off again. I'm sorry. I'm just wondering where specifically you are going to find this money and then where you're going to put it.
I'm telling you that, I think. I'm saying that there's $23 billion of offshore tax havens that we're going to clamp down on and use those investments in things like childcare. We're going to ask the super wealthy to pay a wealth tax. So those who have wealth of over $20 million, we're going to ask them to pay 1% on that. The PBO has said that would be a $70 billion investment in new revenue. So we're going to ask the wealthiest in Canada to help invest in these programs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that means that... Okay. So that means that the cost of living for the middle class and lower income, it's not going to increase.
Not at all. This is only, we look at who's not paying their fair share. Middle class families, lower income families are certainly paying their fair share. They don't have access to offshore tax havens. They don't have access to CEO stock option loopholes. But those loopholes that exist have to be clamped down on. One concrete example is the CEO stock option loophole could raise as much as $1 billion of new revenue. Mr. Trudeau promised to do it in 2015. 4 years later, he hasn't done it. And to me, it looks like again and again, governments work for the richest. They don't work for families that need help, families like you. And I want to make sure we change that. I'm in it for you. I want to fight for you.
Another question. I'm just curious about how, because the cost of living is just going up and up and up. And is there going to be a way to reduce it, to reverse it? Because I went grocery shopping the other day and a stick of butter was $7. So how are we going to move forward by reducing some of these prices?
So I hear you on that. Like, life is getting super expensive. And I speak to people all the time that tell me how tough it is because salaries aren't going up, but the costs are going up. And it's really frustrating. So I look at what we can do at the federal level. There's a bunch of things we can do. One is we know that the cost of healthcare is going up. Medications cost more and more. We want to put in place a universal Medicare program, a pharmacare program for all. So their medication costs, that would save families about $600 at a minimum per year. For some families, that would mean thousands of dollars of savings. We want to put in place a dental care program, which would save families, on average, families of four, $1,200 a year. So that's a dental care program that we could put in right away in 1 year. That would save families lots of money.
That's it. Good job, Lauren. That's really expensive butter, though. I had never seen $7 butter.
I should have said that too, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to ask a couple questions, if that's okay. You consistently say, and you said it again already today, that the Liberal government gave $14 billion to corporations to buy limousines and private jets. That is not, in fact, what they gave them the money for. It was a response to a huge tax reform that happened in the United States. It is for capital investment to buy new machinery and equipment for companies, and that generally creates more jobs and helps workers. So are you saying to me that you would not help companies with capital investment when they are having to compete with massive tax reform in the United States?
Well, Rosie, you know that in that $14 billion corporate tax giveaway that cost us $14 billion, they specifically included corporate jets and limousines as capital investment.
Yes, but it's disingenuous to say that that's what it's for. It's also for equipment and large machinery that companies need in order to work.
What they've done is do exactly what Mr. Harper's done in the past, which is to give a blank check to corporations. There's no commitment that it has to create jobs. There's no requirement that it has to invest in direct job creation. So that's basically a blank check. And the point of saying...
You would cancel that kind of
I don't believe in blank checks. Absolutely, I would cancel that.
Would you give them $14 billion if they made a commitment for job creation?
Now, job creation is a different type of investment. I wouldn't give $14 billion away to a corporation, which includes a whole list of measures, which include the ability to buy corporate jets as one of them. There's no restriction. It doesn't say that they have to invest in a factory or they have to invest in a worker. They can do whatever they want. To me, that's a blank check. And no, I would never give blank checks to corporations.
But do you
I would ensure that they're investing in people.
Do you understand that corporations drive growth and productivity in the country?
Do you understand that?
But that's what they're trying to spark by giving them that option.
But do you understand that when we give blank checks to corporations, they can just walk away? I grew up in Windsor. I grew up in southwestern Ontario. And I've seen what happens when you can give billion-dollar giveaways to corporations. They can close down their shops and leave people stranded. And they've done that before. That's wrong.
Okay. We'll move on. Move on to our next voter. Here's a little bit about Dina.
Hi, Dina Barakat. I graduated in international business law. I am originally from Sudan. I got my citizenship a few weeks ago, so I am a first-time voter. I am very interested in the party's agenda in regards to their foreign affairs policy. I would like to know what their strategy is to ensure our presence internationally is regarded to a higher standard than it is today.
Awesome. Very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Over to you, Dina.
Thank you. So I'd like to know, what's your strategy? Like, what's your plan, should you be elected into office tomorrow, that you're going to execute to balance between representing our Canadian values of humanitarianism and peacekeeping with the economy? Because if we're in tariffs, if we get more tariffs, if we're in more trade wars, that's going to hit the economy and everything that you're trying to do on a national front as well. So what exactly is your plan?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's tough to make decisions like that. I mean, I can give you the arms deal example. Basically, I don't think it makes any sense that Canada is selling weapons to a country like Saudi Arabia. When Saudi Arabia has been implicated in the killing of a journalist, they've been implicated or they're involved in a killing of people in Yemen, and the human rights track record of that country with respect to its own people is so horrible.
And I agree, like I'm with you in the sense of like, let's cancel all arms deals, but how are you going to handle, that's a very powerful player on the global stage. That's the leader of the Islamic world. How are you going to handle the retaliation that can come from them or from their allies, and also honor the commitments of what you're saying you want to do internationally as Canada, as the consensus builder, which I believe is Canada's role so far? Because you do need their support to be able to go into these countries and increase women's rights or women's education. It's a delicate balance.
No,
What's your plan? If you cancel that arms deal and they retaliate, one, we're sending a message to the world that our current leaders can cancel agreements which our previous leaders entered into. It's ethically...
Well, there's a criteria that we have. The criteria is that we can look at the human rights track record of a country, particularly in the sales of weapons, and we can evaluate whether weapons should go there or not. And in this case...
We've already signed the contract.
But we have the ability to say, given all the information we have now, given the recent events like the killing of a journalist and the implication in that, I mean, I can't think of, if we've got the criteria that exists for us to say we're not going to sell arms to a country, I can't think of any other example. When would we ever then say no?
You can cancel the agreement, but my question is, how are you going to deal with the retaliation that's going to come to Canada, and it's going to impact our economy?
We have to, I mean, I believe if we want to be leaders in the world, we have to take a strong stance.
So what are the steps you're going to do to handle that retaliation? We've already gotten hit from China. That's a global economic leader that we need to build increase our relationships with, just to be smart and bring money into Canada.
So with this one example, what I would say is that this is our position. I'd be very clear on why we're taking the position. Given these three really important things that have happened, I've made this decision. And I would communicate that decision very clearly and say, this is very troubling, this is very wrong, and I communicate that clearly and take a firm stance.
So what's your mitigation? So for me, if you plan to do something like that, you've analyzed the risks and you have some mitigation plans in place to handle the retaliation that's going to come. We know today, like the global platform has changed. There's lack of civility. These countries come from very different cultures and very different backgrounds. They don't care about democracy. Like the leading representation of democracy, the US themselves are taking a different stance.
I think we've got to stand up. I think that's what people expect us to stand up, and I think that standing up will have its repercussions, but I'm ready to handle those.
You have also, I'm not clear where you are on this right now, but you joked that you hoped Donald Trump would get impeached before you speak to him.
I wasn't joking.
And then you said it wasn't a joke. And then the next day you said it wasn't a joke, so that's where I was going.
Oh,
do you think
I stole the punchline on that one.
Do you think that kind of comment is appropriate for someone who might be sitting across a table from our biggest trading partner and someone who you are going to have some sort of professional relationship with? Is that an appropriate comment on the president and a domestic process?
Well, I grew up with this belief that, if you got good friends, you can have a good conversation with them, but you also got to call them out when they're wrong. It's wrong to strip kids from their mom's arms. It's wrong to put kids in cages. It's wrong what he's doing.
But it's different. It's different to make a comment on a policy decision and where you sit on the issue versus the United States. And then it's another thing to say that you agree the U.S. president should be impeached. You know that he reacts abruptly to things, right? So I just wonder, when you meet him for the first time and he knows that you've said that about him, how would that change the nature of your relationship? Because it would have to.
Well, in my experience, when you've got someone who's a bully, that does a lot of bullying tactics, they certainly don't respect you if you're weak. They certainly don't respect you if you don't stand up to them. My only experience in life has been if you've got a bully, you've got to stand up to them, and that's what I would do.
When we come back,
we invest in people, not in going to debt to give billionaires more billions.
Fair enough, but what you just said concerns me even more now.
more Face to Face with Jagmeet Singh next on The National.
This fall, on Tuesdays, the jokes are on us. Still standing.
Canada, get over here!
This hour has 22 minutes.
Papers.
Cowboys.
What?
And Baroness Von Sketch Show.
You haven't changed a bit.
Tuesdays.
No problemo.
Welcome back to Face with Jagmeet Singh. Let's get to our next questioner.
Hi, my name is Sunny Rajwan and I'm from Abbotsford, British Columbia. I'm married and father to one child with another one on the way. I currently work as a financial analyst in the public service sector. The main concern for me in this election cycle is increasing cost of living for average Canadian families just like my own. It's becoming increasingly harder to buy a home and to pay for living expenses. Even though that the parties are promising to pay for social spending and social programs to make it more affordable to live in Canada, my concern is none of these parties are really talking about how they're going to pay for this spending. Will affordability in the future be worse off for me and my fellow Canadians by paying higher taxes? Or will Canada just rack up more debt and burdening my children's generation to pay for the spending that we're doing today?
Go ahead, Sunny.
Hi, Jagmeet.
Hey.
Nice to meet you. These promises and the NDP platform, you're really kind of funding it on the backs of the corporations and the super rich.
Absolutely. So first is these choice. First, I'll give you two quick things, then you come right back at me.
Sure.
So first is the choices.
Right.
The choices, we make different choices, and then yes, in addition to that, we'd actually increase revenue on the super rich, as well as the wealthiest.
Right. Okay. So that means you won't raise my taxes.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not 1%.
Not 1%.
And you won't rack up any more debt.
No. Well,
Okay.
our plan is this. Well, we're not afraid to make investments in people to ensure that we deliver programs. So we're not afraid of that, but we're confident that the decisions we're making are going to actually increase revenue and make better choices with the revenue that we have so that we invest in people, not in going to debt to give billionaires more billions.
Fair enough. But what you just said concerns me even more now. Right? Because the last time I checked, we work in a capitalist economy, right? The rich want to get richer every day, right? Corporations are in for the bottom line. Corporations employ the middle class, right? Like myself. If you jack up the taxes even more on them, sure, they'll pay it, but down the road, they'll say, hey, we're leaving. We're going to go to a better tax jurisdiction, like let's say the US, and we're going to cut jobs. We're out the door, right? Then I'm scared that Mr. Jagmeet Singh and the NDP are going to show up at my door and say, hey, remember all those promises you gave us? Right? Pay up for them now, right? And then, hey, maybe
It's not gonna happen. I'll tell you why, though.
Right, but the thing is, it's kind of playing Robin Hood in a way, right? Taking from the rich, giving it to us.
I believe in that.
right?
I believe in taking from the rich,
yeah,
for sure.
but we're not a socialist economy. The corporations aren't in it to play a charity game, right?
But I think they should pay their fair share.
They should be, but that's not how economics works, right?
I'll give you a couple examples, though.
Right.
So for a 1% on the wealthiest, so those who've got wealth of over 20 million, we want to put a 1% tax in place. So people ask, why 1%? Why not 5? Why not 10? The 1% is because we found the PBO costed this out. They said it would cost more for people to move their money than to keep it in their jurisdiction. So that's why we kept it at 1%. So we're on top of that. We don't want them to be able to move it around.
Okay, climate change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold the claps. I'm a big believer in the science behind the climate change.
Yes.
We need to do something about the climate right now.
Yeah.
We're going to reach levels of carbon emissions where it's going to be impossible for us to reverse. The children are going to suffer, and I don't want them fighting for resources like water or energy. We need to save the planet, and I know that's a term, but we really need to do something now.
I agree.
On the flip side of that.
Time's up. So just end your question.
Sorry.
No panic.
I was in Calgary during the oil downturn. I was affected deeply. We just had a baby, bought a house, worked my butt off to buy the house, lost my job. Wife lost her job. In-laws in Edmonton are all hurting. Friends in Calgary have lost their jobs. They're having trouble putting house over their heads, keeping the house over their heads, food on the table. Your stance on the pipeline is a hard no. A hard no shows me that you're turning your back on those Canadians. That's what it feels like. Why doesn't the NDP just phase off the pipeline versus, nope, too bad, so sad, we're going to go green? Are you going there because that's where the votes are and that's a hot topic right now? Or why not phase off and help the Canadians that are suffering? Because that's what the NDP is about, isn't it?
Sure.
That's the last one, for real.
I don't know. I don't know if the votes are there or not, to be honest with you, because people will say polling goes this way and that way. It's not really clear. I just know as a value, to me, it doesn't make sense to put the whole coastline at risk, the Indigenous communities that are, their rights are being infringed on. Right. It's diluted bitumen, and we don't know how to clean it up if there's an oil spill. So for various reasons, I've said no to that project. But I want to say yes to workers, because I know what you're going through. I've heard the same stories from so many people. Right. And I know this hasn't just happened now. In the past, in Edmonton, I have a friend, I was friends since 20 years ago. Right. And the same thing happened back then. That busts and booms happen again and again. And workers can work so hard, no matter how hard they work, they go through periods where they lose everything and they gain everything.
But this time, everybody's saying, forget the pipeline, forget it. Too bad, right?
No, but what I want to do is our plan to fight the climate crisis is a jobs plan as well, because we cannot ever forget workers. So what we're committed to doing is this. Workers should not have to have an economy that's so volatile, that's so unpredictable. I want to give more stability and more predictability.
How are you going to do that?
So there's a whole host of measures. We want to make investments in clean energy. We want to make investments in retrofits. Right. We want to put all the skills and talents that we have to an opportunity where they can create long-term jobs. Right.
Okay, Sonny wants 5 more questions. He's not getting them, though. Here's our next voter. Watch this.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
My name is David Aspinall. I'm married with 2 daughters at university. I live in Montreal. Together with my wife, we own and operate an internet business. And we contribute a lot to the local fabric in terms of jobs and opportunities for people in our neighborhood. I'm undecided as a voter because I haven't yet heard from the leaders of the political parties a clear vision about how they're going to deal with the challenges related to new technologies.
Okay.
All right, David.
Hi.
Hi. So, as a leader of the party and as a leader of government, would you, in fact, consider having some form of council or committee that would consider the impacts on Canadian businesses and how we might be able to also develop more businesses and more, capital here in Canada?
What I think, so the taxation question isn't just a matter of revenue, it's also a matter of competition. So Canada has lost out because web giants effectively operate without any taxation, without any restrictions. And it's really been an incentive. It's been a subsidy of Facebook, Google, and Netflix. Effectively, Canada has subsidized these companies because they don't have the same taxation laws apply to them. So by being subsidized, they've gotten ahead of traditional media. So we've lost out in culture, we've lost out in investments in our local media because Canada, Mr. Trudeau and Mr. Harper before him have been basically giving away billions of dollars to these other companies that have been taking that as an advantage and then have run with it. So I think it's created more wealth concentrated into fewer hands, hurt local businesses, local opportunities like yours to continue and grow. So I think that's a massive problem.
I think that's absolutely correct. And, we cannot wait for somebody else to give us a model or a strategy.
Right.
So what I haven't yet heard is, would you commit, for example, to have some form of commission that would look at this?
Yes.
To stimulate job growth, to actually develop some resources locally?
Yes, absolutely. So what we do is, I think that with the new advent of technology and e-commerce, and the consolidation of power basically in a couple of handful of web giants, it's hurt all other forms of competition. So I would look at what the impact has been on giving them that massive subsidy and how that's hurt businesses and how we can actually support local businesses growing.
Time for a quick break. Up next.
When it comes to action, like for example, Bill 21, I felt you didn't have the courage to take action.
Face to Face with Jagmeet Singh continues right after this.
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, more with national co-host Rosemary Barton on what we learned about undecided voters in this week's Face to Face with Federal Party Leaders. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is here taking questions from undecided voters. Watch this.
My name is Farheen, and I live and work in downtown Toronto. I work in the financial services industry, and I am Pakistani Canadian. I've been in Canada for 12 years. In my spare time, I volunteer with various organizations. I'm passionate about empowering women as well as working with marginalized communities. Historically, I voted Liberal. However, for the past couple of years, I voted NDP. This year, I'm undecided, and I'm not sure who I'm going to vote for.
All right. So I hear a lot about diversity and inclusion within your party, which makes me really happy. However, I feel you said the right things, especially around the blackface scandal. I felt your message really resonated with me and a lot of other Canadians. So I think you showed really great leadership. However, when it comes to action, like for example, Bill 21, I felt you didn't have the courage to take action, that you really shied away from actually standing up. So again, that raises question to me about your leadership.
I don't know if you saw the video yesterday, but my whole life
That was unfortunate.
But my whole life is an act of defiance to an idea of discriminating people. I go to Montreal, I go to Quebec. No other leader can go there and have to face people calling them out for the way they look. But I'm not afraid of that because I know many Canadians face that every day. People are told that they don't belong because of their gender. They're told because they don't belong because of the color of their skin or who they are, their sexuality. And I go into places and say, hey, I'm not just trying to become I'm trying to become the prime minister of this country. And look, I got a beard and a turban, and I want to fight climate crisis, and I want to build a better country.
And
my presence on the political platform is an act of saying, hey, we don't have to divide people based on the way they look.
And I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. But if I could just get in on the action piece, like right, taking action on Bill 21. I'm not a lawyer, but I really want to know. I'm sure there's a federal government can do something to, influence that Bill 21.
Yeah. So right now there's a court challenge going on, and that court challenge is very important. I support the right to challenge it in court, and that decision is going to be very important. I don't want to interfere with that decision, but what I want to do is I want to win over the hearts and minds of people. I'm going to Quebec regularly. I'm going on TV regularly. Every question I get when I go to a scrum or when I'm interviewed in Quebec is about Bill 21. So I have to continue to say, hey, listen, clearly I'm against the bill. I don't believe I don't believe in politics that divide us. I don't believe in politics that discriminate people based on the way they look. And I want to win over the hearts and minds of people in Quebec, one person at a time, one interview at a time. I want to show people that we can build a better society when we work together.
But will you take action? When you're Prime Minister, will you take action on that bill?
Yes, I'm taking action every single day, and I will continue to do as Prime Minister as well.
Okay. Good job.
Yes.
You heard their questions, his answers. Now it's time to hear what the undecided voters really thought. Their impressions are right after the break.
This federal election, CBC News helps you make your best decision with Vote Compass, Poll Tracker, and CBC News app. Canada Votes 2019.
At this point, we'd normally bring you the moment, but tonight we're turning it over to those undecided voters who went face-to-face with NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. Here are their reactions to his answers.
It definitely felt intense. I could feel a lot of charismatic energy.
I was more nervous beforehand. At the end of the day, it's a Canadian citizen sitting in front of me.
Jagmeet's a great guy. He's a very personable guy.
I really feel like the leader was genuine.
I'm feeling pretty good, actually.
I'm very disheartened.
A little preachy.
Anytime anybody asked a question, it felt like he was smoke screening. Multiple times, myself and others asked him point blank, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? Never got a clear answer.
It's very easy to talk about skimming money from the rich, but I really wanted to know where that money was going to be put specifically and how it was going to be divided.
I think his answers were politicians' answers, like what they're scripted to say.
He came very well prepared. I was impressed.
There were some great questions. It really brought to light all the issues that Canadians care about. And what's interesting is all our issues were connected, but I'm still left a little concerned.
He kept alluding to Mr. Trudeau and what he's done and how he's going to do it better.
And I didn't feel that what Trudeau has done was any bearing on what I wanted to talk about.
Everything I've heard is one side of the coin of leadership based on what they're going to do nationally. Not much of what I've heard is what they're going to do internationally.
I feel there's still a lot left to the campaign. But I definitely felt though he was on my side.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I hope that I got some of your questions answered.
And thank you for joining us for these special editions of The National. If you missed any of our face-to-face specials, there's still plenty of time to get caught up before Election Day.
You and I aren't going to live to see the end of the world, but our grandchildren could very well burn.
From the impending effects of climate change to the rising cost of living.
Pursuit of home ownership
keeps going away and away and away from us.
Undecided voters from across the country told the leaders what was important to them.
When pictures come out with like brownface and stuff like that, right? Is that my prime minister that's representing Canada out there?
And held the leaders' feet to the fire.
I truly believe that you're going to hold the balance of power. How are you going to work with Trudeau or Scheer should they become prime minister?
20 undecided Canadians, 4 party leaders, 4 special nights. Watch them all on CBC Gem or on the CBC News app. Big thanks to all the undecided voters who joined us from across Canada, and of course to you for watching. Remember, CBC News is your destination for all the news, analysis, and tools you need to make an informed decision on October 21st. Good night.